Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm gonna start from here because I do not see any new people here. All of you were there in last session, so not going back to scratch from machine. How did I come here? I'm not showing that. So let's get started. This is the NIC, network interface card of our virtual machine in Azure. Now I told you that we apply IP addresses on NIC. So if I have to do something, if I have to change something, that can be done on NIC. So if I want to configure this NIC or make some changes, I will have to click here on this network interface card. Earlier we were looking at the NIC from outside. Now we clicked on that and now we are inside the NIC. And now we can check the details. So what all information is there on NIC? Then here it's a basic thing overview, which resource group it is a part of, where is the region, what IP address is there on this one, public IP, what is the private IP here. Okay, these details are here, and this NIC is attached to which virtual machine, that is also shown here. I can change the NIC also. I can remove this NIC from here. I can attach to some other machine, provided they are in same virtual network or same region. Okay, so apart from this, yes, here tags, activity log, IAM, we have seen all this, so we don't have to repeat this. IP configuration, this is where we can start, and this is where we can change our IP address. I don't want to mess with my machine. This one I use regularly, so I'm gonna simultaneously I'm gonna create a different machine where I can remove IP or assign IP. I can do that, but meanwhile I will explain it to you. What is it? Okay, so look at this. This NIC tell me I'm a part of which subnet. I'm a part of this subnet. 250 IPs are free in this subnet, and this is where I see my IP address. Can someone read my IP address here? What is my IP address for this machine?
10.0.0.4.
Yes, here it is. It is applied on my virtual NIC. It's applied on my NIC, network interface card, and that NIC is assigned to one of the virtual machines which I'm using. So if I remove this NIC from here and assign to some another machine, then this IP will be assigned to that machine. This is how it works. Is it clear, guys? That you can remove NIC, you can attach it somewhere else also. Any doubt till here?
How do we remove this nick here from here?
Not from here. I just showed you in last session. From where do we remove the NIC, guys? Can someone tell me? Yes, if I have to detach this NIC, from where do I do that? Just showed you guys 5 minutes.
Network
Ye-
setting.
Sorry, where?
Under network setting.
Yes, so I have to go back to network setting. Let's say this is the virtual machine from which I want to remove the NIC. So I'll go to network setting. Whoever asked the question, look at this. I'm explaining it again. I go to machine, I go to network setting. By default, when I go to network setting, I'll see this page. Now, do you see the option to remove the NIC? Yes, guys. Yes, no, maybe. Do you
Yes,
see the
sir.
option?
Yes.
Whoever
Yes.
asked the question, do you see the option? Here it is. Detach network
Yes.
interface. And the moment you click there, it will be detached from your current machine and you will be able to attach it to the next machine. Clear? But what we were doing, we were not detaching it. We were looking at the configuration of this NIC. So I had to click here under against network interface and I'm clicking here. So now I am in that NIC. I'm not removing it. If I wanted to remove it, I would have done it there on the on the first page itself. Okay, but here I am uh, configuring it. So I clicked on the page where I went inside the NIC. Now we are inside the NIC. So I just discussed these all things, IP configuration. So from here, you can either assign a new IP, you can change your IP, or whatever you want to do. If I want to assign another IP, you can do it from here. You can click on add, give a name. Let's say I call it secondary IP. Dynamic and static. We never go for static. Static I just showed you in the first session where you go and type in manually. Right? That is static and start. But here, when I say in Azure, static means it will never be removed from this machine. Dynamic, it means it can be shuffled from here and there. So we always deal with dynamic. Plus, you don't have to understand all these things. What you need to understand is how to assign a secondary NIC. As an administrator, you will get the details that this is a NIC, assign this NIC. Should it be what should be the name of the NIC? You will have it. Should it be dynamic or static? You will get it. And if they're saying static, they will have to provide an IP address also. If it is dynamic, dynamic will pick one of the IP addresses from what range? Which range will it pick it from?
From the
10.0.0.
subnet range.
Subnet range, yes. तो यहाँ पर आप देखो 10.0.0.0/24, which means 250 IPs. Out of this, 1, 2, 3, they are already occupied, right? Reserved. 4 is already here. So what should be the next IP? If I pick dynamic, just a guess.
5.
5, and it could be anything.
10.0.
Maybe some other resource is already using 5. We don't even know about it. Maybe some hidden resource is using. But whichever is available next, that will pick it from here. But if I have a specific information or a specific request, then I will go for static, and the application team will provide me the IP. Maybe they have reserved 10.0.0.50 here for some specific application, and they want you to assign it here. You can do that. And later on, when let's say for third or fourth machine or fifth machine or 50th machine, if that machine is being allotted an IP, then the 50 will not be allotted to any other machine. Once you use it, it cannot be repeat. With internally, any IP cannot be repeat, even the private IP. In this subnet, if one of the resource has 50, next no resource will get the 50 IP address here. Got it, guys? Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I've got a new machine here. I can log into this machine, and then we can do practical on this one. I didn't want to change IP on my machine, hence I was waiting for this machine to be deployed. So here I'm taking the remote of this machine. Again, this is taking a remote from public IP, and that's all we need the public IP for. Apart from that, we are not going to use public IP. Rest we'll discuss on private IP. Not sure what's happening. While setting up the password, I guess my caps lock was on, and it happens, guys. Look at this. This is the reason we learned how to reset password. By the way, password reset has a new feature nowadays. When we started our session, we didn't have that, and now you can create a user also. It's not only password reset, from that portal itself you can create a new user. So even if you have forgotten your user ID, sorry, last time if you remember, I showed you that net user and get the user ID and then reset the password. Now if you go to reset password option, you will see that you can create a new user also. This is the reason practice is important. Azure keeps releasing the features, and you won't even come to know if you do not keep on practicing. So please, guys, whatever practicals we are doing, make sure you practice them. Whatever practicals and whatever theory part we are learning, go ahead and keep revising them. It should not happen that you're learning whatever is there in this session and you're forgetting whatever we learned in the first session. That should not be the case. So if I go here and check, this is the new machine which I have created. Look at this. This is the NIC which we are handling from outside. In Azure, you never go ahead and handle NIC from inside, from OS level. You never do that. Everything will do from outside. And if something has to be done from OS level, that's not your job. As an Azure administrator, you won't even have access here. And it says that obtain IP automatically. And in this case, automatically, matlab, it should come from portal. So let me check the IP address. So what is the IP address I have here for this machine?
.4.
.4. Okay. Look at this .4 IP address I have. Now let's see, we'll go ahead there and change something. So I'll come to this machine now. Can someone guide me quickly steps? I want to change the IP address of this machine. Yes, guys, anyone?
Select the VM.
Okay. Select. Is
VM
that
virtual machine. No. Open it. Clicking on its name.
okay?
Go to network settings.
Network.
Yeah.
I clicked it, it's coming. Next.
Okay. Check the network interface. It is
Check as in.
okay. This is the network interface.
Okay. So how do I change IP?
Okay, just scroll down. I think there is some confusion.
Anyone else would like to try?
You can click on network interface.
Yes, that's okay.
Okay.
Whoever was answering it, there's no confusion. I understand. It's only first time, one time I've explained. When you guys do it, I'll give you some task now, and you will be able to do it, and you will learn it. So under network setting, you just see that this is the network interface card. You can attach it, you can detach it. This is outside. You want to make some changes, you'll have to go inside the network interface card, which you can do by clicking here. This is the logo, the name label, network interface. Against that, you'll see your actual network interface. And I told you it takes the name of your machine. I NIC practical. This is the name I've given to my machine. And look at this, the nickname it has taken NIC practical 235. So you have to click on your network interface card. Yes, next. Yes, guys, where do I go? I want to change the IP address.
IP
Under-
IP
configuration.
IP configuration. Ultimately, we are heading towards here, network security group. DNS, we are going to skip, very easy. We're not doing it now. After IP configuration, we are heading to network security group. That is the main topic we have for today. Yes. Okay,
So you
here.
can scroll down and select the IP address which we need to delete and then
Okay.
add.
Fine. So two things or multiple things we can do here. Thank you, Joseph. You can mute yourself now. So one thing is, I said I want to change the IP address. What does it mean? It means I have to remove this and I want to add something, but I cannot remove this. Why? I don't see an option to delete.
Your machine is running.
Machine is running, plus this is a primary IP and you cannot remove the primary IP. Okay. If NIC is there, it should have one IP. So what you can do, if the request is to remove this or to add something, have an additional IP, everything is same. I'll show you one practical and all questions will be answered in that. So you click on add. You call it secondary IP or backup IP or white network IP. White network normally they use in production to a network which is being used only for troubleshooting purpose. So they call it white network. So let's stick to that. White network IP, which means my services are not dependent on this. My client and my other applications, they do not have this IP. This is IP only for my administrators. They can go and log into this. I hope you understood dynamic and static. If they say static, they will have to give you an IP address. If you select static, it will be picked from here. With this, do I want a public IP? One more public IP do I want? Can one machine have multiple IPs, guys?
Yes.
Yes. So I can have
Yes.
another IP. If there is any IP which is lying, you can utilize that IP or you can create a new public IP. But in this case, we do not require any public IP. So let it be. It is just the private IP I'm discussing. So click on add. It is being added. It's done. So now look at this. This is secondary, this is primary. So if I check this, I have an option to delete. Still don't have an option to delete. Why? I'll have to make this as primary, and then I will have an option to delete this one. Okay, I got some error, but it happened here. Normally the error would be do not ever do these things with machine on. You should be doing all these steps with machine turned off. But got it, guys? How to remove an IP? And if a user's request was I need 2 IPs, fine. You don't have to do anything. You didn't have to even change primary, or you didn't have to do anything. You just could have added IP and that's it. And now your machine has 2 IPs. Got it?
Yes.
Let's check if it is there. I think I lost the remote connection. Let me check. That should not be the case because we are connected using public IP. If I was using private IP for remote, let's say from some other private machine, if I'm using private IP, then my remote would have gone for sure. But now because we are connected on public IP, but sometimes you may get disconnected. Nick gets refreshed. It happens. This is the reason we always require downtime for that. And it is recognizing only one IP, I guess. So I will have to reboot the machine once. But this is how you can see. This is how it will work. If I want one more IP, I can add one more IP. Let's say third Nick, I'm calling it. And now this machine will have 3 IPs. Why do we require this IP? You don't have to worry about it. What you need to know that how to add IP. If an interviewer is asking from where to add IP, you should know these details. You should be able to speak about it. You should be able to guide, and you should be able to tell the steps that you have to go to machine, go to network settings, under network settings, select that network interface, and under network interface, you will have to click on IP configuration. These 4 steps are necessary. And after that, you know that add IP, add or remove. You should know you cannot remove the primary IP. If you want to remove the primary IP, you will have to change the primary IP, make some other IP as a primary IP, and then you will be able to remove the secondary IPs. Okay, and then here you will not see third, fourth, ऐसे कुछ नहीं देगा. Type में दो ही है, primary and secondary. No matter you put 10 IPs after this, all 9 will be secondary, one of them will be primary. Got it, guys?
जो पहला वाला आईपी है वो प्राइमरी रहता है क्या?
By default, your first IP will be primary. Later on, you can make any IP as a primary. Now look at this. I made third IP as a primary, but at a time there will be only one primary IP, and remaining all IPs will be secondary. Second, third, ऐसे कुछ नहीं होता है. All are secondary IPs. These all are secondary. Even if I add one more here, we'll have one primary IP, 3 secondary IPs. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, now it's still, this has still not taken the changes. I think we'll have to reboot the machine once, and then maybe we will be able to see the details. Okay, so this is how it works, or maybe I'll just have to hit apply, and it may reboot the machine also. But before we do that, now let's say I did not want to add an IP. I did not want to add an IP. I just wanted some changes in my current IP. Let's say if this is my IP, I wanted some change. What kind of change? If this is the IP, I wanted to assign a public IP or change the public IP. So here you can do that. If this IP or if this IP configuration, this NIC to be specific, we are on this one. If it doesn't have one public IP, you can assign one public IP from here. If you already have a public IP, use that. If you do not have it, you can create a public IP. But don't worry, we are not going to do any task for public IP, or we are not discussing anything on public IP. We are not doing that. So what you need to know, it's we already discussed network settings. From network settings, how to go to a network interface, how to attach NIC, how to detach NIC, that we'll have to learn, and how to add public IPs. Sorry, how to add private IPs. And this is where I'm getting applied, and it is failing. It could be because machine is on. Let me turn off the machine and we'll try. I'm opening the machine on the second screen. So I'm trying to turn it off. Okay, I've stopped the machine. Once it is in stop condition, then we will see. And once this is done, that's all we have in NIC. That's all we have to learn. DNS, it's very small. I will cover it when we cover DNS topic. Here, you just have to come and change the DNS settings. They will give you that this is the DNS server. Change it. That's it. Very basic. NSG, we are going to start now. So do you guys have any questions till here? How to add IP, how to go to NIC, how to go to settings, how to attach NIC, how to detach NIC. So I have not shown it to you how to do it, but I showed the option to you already. From where you can detach the NIC, from where you can attach the NIC. When will you get these requests? You don't have to worry about it. कि exactly uska business case kya ho sakta hai? Why do you get it? These are very small. You won't even have any business case or nothing. You will simply get a service request. You'll simply you won't even forget you even if someone who's working as an administrator from last 2-3 years, even that person will not know what was the business case. Why? Because these are very small requests. Business case and everything will not be discussed with Azure administrator at this level where they are asking you to just add a NIC. They are not going to give you an explanation. What you will have, it's a service request which will have your virtual machine name, and they will ask you to please add a NIC or please add an IP address. That's all. You should know if they're asking you to add a NIC, how to do that. You should know if they're asking you to add one IP address, how to do that. They may ask change the primary to secondary or change the secondary to primary. You should know how to do that. If they're asking you to delete some IP, you should know how to do that. And if they're asking you to remove the primary IP, you should know that primary IP cannot be deleted. You will have to make some other IP as a primary IP first and then delete the primary IP. These things you should know. What is the static and what is dynamic? You should know that how to assign dynamic, how to assign static. You should know that if it is a request for static, you should get an IP address from the team. They will not ask you to decide. Networking team will give them IP to the application team, and your request will have all this information. And even if I give you a task, I will be very specific that and static IP, they never mention anything for dynamic. If they're simply saying add an IP, consider it is implied that it is dynamic. If they want a specific static IP, they will mention add static IP and they will mention the IP address also. So you have to make sure that you're adding that particular IP address. You should know that how to add that. Got it, guys? Any doubts do you
Okay.
have till here?
So Sohail, like if the requirement is for static IP, so it needs to be from the same subnet, right?
Technically, yes, but you don't have to worry about it. It's not your job to decide the IP. When I tell you that IP will be given by them, it's their job to find it out from where the IP has to be given. But technically, yes, it has to be from, be it dynamic or static. It has to be from this range. It cannot go beyond this range.
Okay. Yes.
Because your machine is in this subnet, and when I say machine is in this subnet, by default your NIC is in this subnet, so you cannot cross this limit. In this one also, 1 2 3, it's being reserved. Maybe you will be able to assign. Let's say if we can assign this, but then it will break the system. Let's say if someone tell you that okay, I am giving you one static IP, assign it. static private IP. Let's say they're giving it to you. What IP address did they give you? 10.0.0.1. Okay, it is not taking it already. Okay, look at this. It clearly says that it is reserved IP range from the subnet. Now, what is the last IP of this subnet? Who can tell me what is the last IP of this subnet? Yes, guys, you have the
254.
CIDR. Yes, 254. I mean, 255 is also there, but again, that will be reserved. Say it is also reserved. If I go by your question, Mustaqim, see, it is not taking it. Even if they give it to you, you will not be able to. I mean, there is no scope you can make a mistake here. Getting the point?
Yes, Sohel.
We can try one more thing. Okay, it is not recognizing that some IP is already assigned to something. So you may make that mistake, which will conflict. But again, this is not your mistake. If someone is giving you static, it is their job to make sure that it has been recorded and they never repeat it. But if you do dynamic will never make this mistake. Dynamic will make sure that an IP is being assigned which is not being used. An IP is being assigned from a free pool. Out of these 250, whichever is free remaining, 1, 2, 3 are reserved. Now 3 we have used, whichever is next available, that IP will be assigned. Got it, guys? And this
Yes.
machine is not being stopped. I have given the stop command long back. Look at this. And it happens sometime. Executing the command from long time. Machine is still running. Yes, guys. Any other questions do you have?
No, Sohel.
So if I assign this one, static, this is clear that even if they give it to you a reserved one, you cannot assign that. Even if they give it to you something which is beyond this subnet, system will not accept that. So that is not happening. You're not making those mistakes for sure. But yes, if an interviewer is asking, you should know this. You should be able to say it very clearly that if I get an IP which is reserved, forget about me being me identifying that. System will identify that and system will throw this error and will not allow us to put that IP. Got it? So while machine is being shut down and I hit apply on this and show it to you guys, that is going to take some time. Let me see if I have some other options here to explain to you. So no, I guess monitoring we are going to see later. Logs we already know, properties we have seen. So nothing is pending here except for NSG. So let's talk about NSG. Now machine is being shut down. Meanwhile, we can discuss about NSG. So what is NSG, guys? NSG is your network security group. We have been discussing about virtual networks, that these two virtual networks can talk to each other. These two virtual networks cannot talk to each other. These two virtual networks can talk to each other once the VNet peering is done, etc., etc. Okay. But and I told you that subnets can talk to each other. So the moment I said subnets can talk to each other, the question is, how are they talking to each other? Why are they talking to each other? By default, they're fine. But what is the rationale behind it? What is the logic behind it? So the logic and the rationale and the configuration behind it, it's your network security group. Like we have firewall, which controls the traffic over the virtual network. We have network security group, which controls the traffic within your virtual network. So I'm creating two virtual networks. Let's say I have VNet and I have VNet 2. And then I have some subnets over there and I have some subnets here. First thing I'm gonna do is explain it to you what is NSG. Then I will show you the interview point of question, that what are the questions you may get in your interview. That is very important. And after that, we are going to check the practical and in detail. We will be able to finish NSG topic today. Don't worry. So what is NSG and what are the questions can you expect? What is NSG? NSG is Network Security Group. It contains a list of security rules that allow or deny inbound or outbound network traffic. This is the best definition I have, guys. If you come up with something, feel free to follow that, or at least from the interview perspective, remember this. First line, what is NSG? NSG is Network Security Group. It contains a list of security rules that allow or deny inbound and or outbound network traffic. Is it clear to everyone? Is this first statement clear to everyone?
Yes.
Now, what is the scope of NSG? Now, when I say scope, what do you understand? What am I asking?
Where do we apply that?
Yes. Is it visible, guys? Is it readable, or do you want me to increase the font size?
It's fine.
Increase it.
Okay. Okay. So network security group contains a list. NSG is network security group. It contains a list of security rules that either allow or deny inbound or outbound traffic. It can be associated at subnet level, which is recommended, and that is what you will see in production environment, or NIC level. This is the sentence I wanted to explain it to you. For this, I had to explain NIC. Whatever we did in our first session, which I wanted to explain it to you, that NIC, what is NIC, how it works, what are the properties of NIC, what all do we have in NIC. I wanted you to understand NIC first, and then this sentence will make sense to you. So is this sentence clear? The definition of NSG? Even if they're not asking where it can be associated, if they ask you just, do you know anything about NSG? Yes, you have to tell them, yes, NSG is Network Security Group. It contains a list of security rules that allow or deny inbound or outbound network traffic. It can be associated with at subnet level or NIC level. You don't have to mention word recommended. This is for your understanding I have mentioned. Is this clear, guys, to everyone?
Yes.
Okay, my machine is shut down. Let's see if we can apply those. Okay, somehow it went. Fine, we'll do this practical later, guys, if you want. But I told you we have nothing to do with this. These are very basic things we are doing, so we don't have to worry about it. The main thing which we are discussing today, it's NSG. This one I'll still show it to you if time permits. I will apply a few IPs and I'll show it to you. Okay. So this is clear to everyone, right? Now, next
Yes.
question. Again, interview question, very important. Each subnet and NIC can have only one NSG applied to it at a time. What am I saying here is that if I have a network security group, let's say this is NSG, NSG1, and this is NSG2. So each NIC, where can I apply this NSG? Either at NIC level or subnet level, right? So what am I saying here is that each subnet or NIC can have only one NSG at a time. This is not possible that this subnet has these two NSG connected. That is not possible. It is not possible that inside a machine, inside the subnet, there's a machine and there's a NIC on this machine. Let's say this is our NIC. That this NIC has this NSG attached and this NSG attached. This is not possible. But this is possible that this NIC has this NSG and this subnet has this NSG. This is possible. If it made you confused, ask me again. I'll repeat myself one more time. If you still don't understand, let me know. It is not possible for one subnet or one NIC to have two NSGs at a time. एक NIC पे दोनों NSG नहीं लग सकते, एक subnet पे दो NSG नहीं लग सकते. But yes, one NIC, one NSG, one subnet, one NSG, that is possible. Is it clear, guys?
Clear.
To all of you?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes.
Second one, I can get it like NSG2 and NSG1 can we can apply
Like
for.
if you have a machine in subnet, that machine's NIC can have one NSG and then subnet can have another NSG. This is possible. But one NIC having two NSG not possible. One subnet having two NSG is not possible. One scope, one NSG, be it subnet or NIC.
Subnet means every subnet in that virtual network will have separate NSG.
No, we'll come to that. We are not we are yet to discuss about the NSG's multiple use. What am I saying here? One subnet can have only one NSG. One NIC can have only one NSG. My subnet cannot have two NSGs. My NIC cannot have two NSG at a time. Is it clear, guys, to everyone?
Yes, sir.
I'm not talking about the NSGs yet. I'll come to NSG, but make sure that this is clear to you that one NIC can have only one NSG. One subnet can only have one NSG. That's it. Now coming to your question, Anisa, one NSG can it be applied on multiple subnet or multiple NIC? Yes, this NSG can be a part of here. This same NSG here, same NSG here, same NSG here, same NSG, not in a different virtual network. Same NSG here, and same network security group here. This is possible. Got it? But one subnet, that this subnet has this NSG and also this NSG, this is not possible. Only 30 seconds are left, guys. I will close the session and will join immediately without any break. So we can continue with the topic using the same link.